Hello and welcome to the DOLECAST. We're back. It's episode 13, I think. And boy, do we have a podcast for you. This week we have the one and only Joel Magician of TikTok. 3 million TikTok followers, 70 million likes. I mean, the guy struck gold. He's done something right, and he's incredible. He's a really, really genuine, nice guy. And we asked him to come on the podcast. He's come on, and we haven't actually recorded the interview yet. We're about to record that in about 40 minutes. But yeah, I don't know why you need to know that pointless information. But yes, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. This is going to cut straight into the actual interview with Joel.
This is the first time we're doing the podcast on Zoom.
Yeah.
Because Joel, we're using Zoom with Joel. We don't know how long the interview will be with Joel. If the audio is bad, deal with it.
Yeah, you can go to another
one
podcast.
Thing you didn't mention is that it's the 1 year anniversary.
Yeah.
Of the podcast.
So we'll talk about that with Joel as well. But yeah, 1 year anniversary of the podcast. The day this comes out, all things willing. So yes, just before we cut to Joel, I'd like to say a massive thank you to everyone that's downloaded, listened, reviewed the podcast over the past year, and every podcast we're trying to make it better. So thanks very much. Anyway, here's Joel. Well, lads, here we are. We've got Joel on the podcast. How are you, Joel?
What's happening, folks? I'm good. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Yes, no,
Privilege and a pleasure.
It's great to have you on. So throughout this, we're just going to chat a bit about you, what you've been doing over lockdown, what you've been doing
Absolutely
up until now, stuff like that. And obviously, you're a magician. I mean, your 3 million TikTok followers speak for themselves. I mean, that is...
This is true. I make my living lying to people and making it seem like it's fun. That's the nice way of putting it.
What else could you ask for apart from that, you know?
It's true, yeah. No, I'm a magician, have been for, well, I guess 4 years now, full time, but since I was a little kid, so I can't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you say the making the fun part, at least it is still fun to you, you know, because like people can do a profession for years and it's just not fun anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, this is it, yeah. I think I kind of stumbled into what I like quite early, but I'm lucky, even when I take time off now, I find myself wanting to still do the magic thing, which is, I guess, a good sign because, you know, if you're wanting to do something when you're in your free time, that means you really like it. So I guess I'm lucky.
To get back at it.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel fortunate. It is a weird living. I got to. It's not the most, not the most standard route, granted, but it is certainly fun. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, you've had obviously some incredible experiences, like doing magic and stuff like that. You've done, correct me if I'm wrong, you've done magic with like the Love Island cast, like with the Love Island cast, haven't you?
Yeah, those guys were sweet. That was the funniest thing of all time because I remember watching the show that year.
Yeah.
Like on and off. I try not to get too hooked, but guilty. You know, it's who doesn't like aspects of that show at times? You know,
I had to watch one episode of it, like, and it's just trash TV. But I do see how addictive it is.
Chewing gum for the eyes. I actually, I know this year was cancelled, but the year before, or maybe it was the Christmas version or whatever it was, I watched one episode and just had to go, no, not again. I can't dedicate my life to this show one more time. So, but it was funny because I watched the show for that year, and the one person on the show that I really, really didn't like on TV, I'll not name because just in case on the off chance that one day this gets seen, is it was Anna. It was Anna. I didn't like Anna on TV.
Like, I just dropped it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone did on TV, but in person, she was the loveliest out of all of them. She was absolutely delightful. So I think that show really does. It pushes the audience to view people in a certain way.
Exactly.
Because I always wondered why so many people liked her in the house when she was so annoying on TV, but she clearly was only like that 5 minutes a day, and that gets, you know,
playing up for TV.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Love Island's crazy in general. You know, with all the.
How do you come into like meeting with them? Is it just by off chance, or is that planned, or whatever? How does that happen?
It's a bit of both, really. I mean, for the most part, you gotta kind of hustle your way in. It's easier now that I have some sort of like social proof, so you know I'm able to get in the door. But at the start, it was really a case of just asking and knocking down doors and doing it. I mean, the first kind of celebrity that I met I remember was at a festival. I can't even remember which one. It was in Belfast. You guys might remember the name. It was when Martin Garrix and Zara Larsson and that lot.
Oh, yes.
Doing a show. I can't remember what it was, but I remember getting in backstage there because my management also represented bands. But even then, you still have to do the whole knocking on the door of the of the celebrity saying, "Hey, excuse." But to be fair, most people do like magic, which makes it easier. Very few people are going to be like, "Nah, we don't want to see a trick." Most people will say yes.
Yeah. I mean, you've been doing magic your whole life, haven't you? Yeah. Mainly.
Near enough.
Yeah.
I can't remember not doing it.
Yeah.
to be totally honest, because I think it was around 5 or 6 when I first picked it up, and at that age, I mean, you don't remember anything before that, to be honest. So the way I got into it was quite strange in that there's no magicians in my family or anything like that. It's not like I inherited the skill. It was more so that my grandfather was and still is a big fan of magic. He loved Paul Daniels when he was about, rest in peace, but he used to watch him all the time. And then when we were in America for a family holiday, there was a little magic shop. We went in together intending just to kind of browse through, but ended up staying there for half the holiday. So I got brought a couple of tricks. One was like with a pen, and there was a card trick and stuff like that. And I got hooked. And then it's just kind of continued to grow from there.
I mean, 100%. I did magic. I don't know if you remember, I originally messaged you, it was like donkeys ago, and I used to do magic. And like, I'll not call myself a professional, but I'm pretty good. So,
Nowhere near it.
There was this one time I'd done a trick. I don't know if you've ever seen Chris Pratt on the not the No One Show. He's not that good.
Graham Norton.
Yeah, Graham Norton.
That's right.
And he did the trick where you slap the cards out of the hand, and I really loved
Good
that.
trick.
Yeah, and I wanted to go learn it. So I went off. I learned it, and then I was at a youth club. And I was like walking from place to place, left, right, and center, dishing this magic card.
There's one trick.
Star of the show.
And this one guy who it takes a lot to impress this boy, came in and was like, "Can I have a go?" So I was, shuffling the cards, and the way the trick was set up, it required me to do a wee bit of fiddling beforehand. And I was like, "Oh no, I'm shuffling the cards," and he went, "Can I shuffle the cards?" And I was like.
Dreaded question.
I don't want to say no, but I don't want to say yes. So I was like, yeah, 100%. Sure. Yeah, sure, go for it. And he shuffled the cards, and I'm thinking, there's no way I can do this. I'm stuffed here. And he handed me it back, and I was just flicking through the cards and going, I have no clue what his card is. And it got to the end, I slapped it out of his hand, which still impressed me to this day. The one card remains. I slapped it out of his hand, there was one left, turned it over. Is this your card? Not even close. Just completely. No. Yeah, just not even close.
Next time you tell that story, you should tell everyone you got it right.
Exactly.
That would make the story fantastic. That was. Do you know what though? That happens at some point to every magician. I remember I got my first kind of paid proper gig whenever I was 12, maybe 13 at a push, and I used to do restaurant magic in a cabaret place in Belfast. I definitely shouldn't have been working in there because it's over 18s to start off with, but I used to go around the booths and do magic tricks, and I was very comfortable doing stuff for friends and family or whatever it was, but suddenly you're up against like drunk 40-year-old men and women who they don't care about your feelings, and they're like, give me the cards, let me shuffle the cards, and you suddenly realize that you have to start tailoring your material for a more social environment. But that's how you get good. I think like most magicians stop just before that point because it's quite painful to go through that. But if you can push through performing for people over and over and over again, you get quite comfortable with any situation.
100%. Yeah.
You'd be surprised, by the way, how many times you just get lucky doing stuff like that. I mean, sometimes you do get into a pinch and you just go for it, and most of the time you can nail it.
Yeah. There was one trick there was one trick Daniel did where he got a table, right, and there was 3 cards, and he went like, he put his hands over the cards. He's sort of telepathically telling, is this your card? So he turned away, saying, pick your card, and I'm watching, and we're sitting down at a table, and he'd come back, I know what card they've picked, and he goes like this, and I say this is the card, I just boot him under the table, and then and then he goes, sometimes he'd be like flinching, like I'm in a lot of pain, and this girl was absolutely she was blown away.
She thought
I did it about 23 times. He did it about 23 times before she said, right, everyone turn around, I'm the only one picking the card. Daniel comes back in with the Conor McGregor walks in, and he's like, oh yeah, here we go, 24th time the charm. And I look at him, and he looks at me, and he's like, and I'm like, and I get up, and I think he knew it was wrong when I got up and went to go get a drink, and he was like,
he knew.
Oh, unbelievable! Unbelievable.
I think you almost got close. Like it's like a 1 in 3 chance. Yeah. You almost got close, but no, you can't really flick your way like over and over again. It just has to, if you're
100%.
Funny,
You quit while you're ahead at that point. There's a classic rule in Magic, which is never do the same trick twice, and that's one of the reasons for it. Because every time you do it again, you're just giving them more of a lesson as to what might happen. But having said that, there are some tricks that I used to just do over and over again on people 100%. Because it's just too much fun. When it's a simple method and they just can't spot it, that is the best. I used to do a trick with the dice like that. So no, go ahead.
I was about to say, I think that like a part of it is overlooking and overthinking it. It's obviously about misdirection and what have you, but like you really want to figure out how it's done, and then you just overlook something really, really simple, and that's just
always it. That's always it. It's always, and really, really good magicians are fantastic at making everything that isn't important to the method look really important, and the 10% that actually matters, you forget about that. I remember the first time I went to see Darren Brown in the theater. I was 12. Yeah, I think it was about 12, and I left, and I swear I had a headache because I couldn't figure out how any of the stuff could possibly work. And of course, 10 years later, I look at it, and it's also so simple. It's such obvious, tiny little things that you just completely overlook at the time, but it creates wonders,
I have a question. So I just completely just something hit me. I was like, see if you watch like magic movies, like for example, Now You See Me or something like that. Do you look at those and go like, oh, I could do that, or I know how that would be done, or is it like just movie and you go, that's impossible even for a movie?
Well, the Now You See Me movie actually was pretty good. It kept pretty true to what could. I mean, obviously grandiose of a bit. It would never happen in real life, but I mean, it could happen. A lot of the technique they were using was pretty possible. I mean, there was hypnosis in there, and there was sleight of hand. There was a lot of that. Some of it was a little bit like, but you could probably still accomplish the same stuff. I know the second movie took it a little bit further again and made it more superhero. But I mean, for me, I think for the most part, magic movies I've seen have been pretty good. Have you seen the movie The Prestige?
I was about to say that. Fantastic.
It's a personal favorite. It's really good. Of course, there is. I'm not going to spoiler alert it, but there is like there's that one. Movie,
there's that one.
But for the most part, the magic's pretty true. I mean, they have the vanishing bird cage, and there's the DOLECAST trick and stuff like that. All classic tricks, which nowadays wouldn't fool anyone, but back in the day. Killed,
that's the problem with audiences growing and evolving, and like once one person's saying one thing, essentially everyone's saying it. That's the annoying thing is, and
that's it. Yeah, I mean, sadly at the minute for magicians, although not sadly at the same time, these days videos that are put out online explaining the trick sometimes perform better than the videos of the trick itself, which is a shame in some ways, but also it's a good thing in that magicians now have to get more creative with the methods they use. That sort of happens. I don't know if either of you guys saw the show The Masked Magician years ago. I think it's on Netflix now, where it's just a guy in a mask revealing all of the Well, that got a lot of hate, but truthfully, it meant that magicians had to change their acts, and that was probably a good thing because it means you don't get outdated. And every now and again, that's going to happen.
Penn and Teller, I think they had an entire show where they just debunked, and then I'm pretty sure they got moved from is it the Magician's Code or something? Where they just
Magic Circle. So they say. I love Penn and Teller. I've been a lifelong fan of those guys. They're brilliant. And actually, I was planning this summer on heading out to Vegas to go see all of my favorite magicians there. But of course, I know we're going to be there. But of course,
there's always next time, I suppose. Which is
exactly. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But it's getting to the point now where a lot of these big names, they're probably going to wrap up their shows in about 5-10 years. They're getting older. Penn and Teller, yeah, I mean, even people who are like the younger Vegas performers, like say Chris Angel, they're now in their 50s. I know it's, eventually you can only escape upside down from a straitjacket for so many years before you give in.
No, I remember you've really blown up in the past, sort of 6 months, especially on TikTok,
TikTok's a weird one, man, because it's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit in that anybody who has some sort of talent or is willing to be persistent can blow up. It's the easiest thing in the world and the hardest thing in the world at the same time. I mean, you have to have, I think, unless you get very, very lucky, which I know some people who have, it is a shift to do pretty well in there. I mean, you have to be willing to to just keep posting every single day, because although it's true that you can get one video overnight with 1 million views, it's not like Instagram or YouTube where then the next time you upload a video, you're going to get 1 million again. You can upload a video, get 1 million views, think you're a superstar, and then get 10 views the next day. And that happens to people all the time, which is where people tend to quit rather than continue. They keep, and then slowly it builds.
We know this
guy. A lot
guy.
of it's the algorithm. Yeah,
we know this guy called Ben Longsdale, and he's listening to this right now probably. He posts consistently every single day, and every day 5:30. I don't know whether that's true, but 5:30 sort of best in the post or whatever, and consistently every single day. And there's sometimes where it won't get that many views. You delete it, put it back up, and say, "Oh, TikTok took it down," or something ridiculous like that, and then put it back up.
Yeah.
And is he doing well on TikTok?
It just depends. Yeah. It's I feel a lot of it's the algorithm, you know.
Yeah, it does have a lot to do with the algorithm. The more, I mean, you can get really lucky. To be fair, the more I do it, the more you can kind of tell in advance if something's going to do well or not. You just have a feel for it, but you can't control it. I mean, for all I know, tomorrow TikTok might just slice my reach in half and it all disappear, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you have to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Which is why it's important, I think, to build a brand rather than just using viral hacks all the time, because you want people to end up searching for you rather than you popping up on their page.
100%.
But no, there's certainly a trick to it. I remember when I started going fairly heavy at it about really the start of lockdown. What was it, 2-3 months ago? And I was posting some 6 to 8 times a day, sometimes like spaced out 1 hour, alarms set, everything. Brilliant. And then I did that for so long it worked, and then I realized actually it's less to do with when you post, it's more to do with just how good the video is. And that's the simple truth. Most people tend to ignore you. There's all these tactics and tricks and the hashtags, and although that's important, that's just the extra like 5%, you know.
You really do want quality over quantity when it comes to posting, I suppose, but you'd think that quantity over quality would at a point just
obviously if you can get both, that's great. I mean, for example, the biggest male TikToker at the minute is still Zach King. He does those like magic illusions. I don't know if you've seen them. Yeah. And he posts once every 5 days. Yeah, he started on Vine. He's been at it for years. But yeah, he posts. I mean, I'm sure he used to do it more, but one every 5 days, and every single one of his videos goes up, of course, because he's one of the bigger ones. But he was never one of these people who uploaded 20 times a day. I think it depends on the type of content you make. Obviously, for someone like him, he can't post 20 times a day. The level of work that goes into each video is higher. But if you're a comedian or something like that, where you can just sit and write jokes all day, and then just get, like, I know a couple of people that upload 20 times a day, and that works for them. It just depends.
I'll tell you one thing, I'll put my head away. No way.
I couldn't do it. No, I couldn't do it. I now usually do 2 a day. That's where.
That's still like consistent though. That's like fair play, you know.
Well, this is it. Yeah.
You know, that's like, ooh.
But I'd rather post 2 a day for 2 months than upload 20 times a day once. That's, I think people fall into that trap of putting all their stuff out at once and then not posting again.
You've got no ideas left, you know. You've got no videos.
Exactly. You got to space it out. This is it. That's something I used to do badly, is I would post 68 times a day and then go, well, what next? And then it's a panic to find 68 more ideas. Yeah. And of course, those 68 videos aren't going to be as good because you've done them all in one day.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. No, I mean, when it comes to like filming those, outside in Belfast, those sort of street videos, like how long did it take to film one, or like has anything went wrong with those, or have you got like one done in one take, sort of that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, to be fair, the ones like outside in Belfast and stuff, usually they are one-take wonders because they have to be. You just don't want to be standing on the street doing a video over and over and over and over again, because inevitably people are going to start watching, coming over and asking, then it gets harder to do the take. So I mean, obviously with lockdown I haven't been able to go out and do those, so I found a new style that kind of works. But whenever it all gets lifted, eventually it'll be back out and doing that stuff. Obviously there's times that you film something and you have to trash it. We did a street magic compilation maybe a year or 2 years ago, which was for YouTube. I haven't done much YouTube content at all, but that took all day of shooting from like 8 in the morning through till 5, and it ended up being a 4-minute video. It just not because the tricks went wrong, but because the reactions just aren't that strong for Northern Irish people for the most part.
We have tried to get in videos with each other for genuinely, it must be the better half of a year.
Absolutely.
I think I texted you around just before sort of Christmas time about I was doing this big Christmas thing on YouTube, and we tried. Must have been like 4 or 5 times we tried. And we could just never get it to work. And then
that's right.
Recently, I was doing another video to do with TikToks, and I was getting a lot of complaints of people with saying, you know, it's not him. And then I text you, an absolute legend provided. But yeah, definitely we've been trying to do videos back and forth in sort of Belfast for about must have been 4 or 5 times now.
It's been a while, yeah. Well, we need to actually get some of this sorted out in public whenever all this goes back to normal. I think that lockdown has like given us a lack of excuses now because creators now as well, we realize how much freedom we had when we could go out and film out in public and stuff, and now that's taken away. Everyone's having to get super creative in the house. So whenever that goes back to normal, everyone's going to want to get out and start shooting again. Having said that, I do think eventually, this maybe isn't the popular opinion, but I do think when lockdown ends, it's going to be easier again for people to go viral on TikTok, because at the minute it's so saturated with people who are just in the house who wouldn't usually be posting.
Exactly.
And as soon as it goes back to normal, people go back to work and back to school, you won't have just random people going viral anymore. It's not as often anyway.
Yeah. I mean,
go back to the normal sort of ones that were always there, you know.
We did.
Yeah, the consistent ones.
Yeah, I do YouTube, and I like most. Genuinely, about 2/3 of my YouTube videos were all based outside, recorded with people, you know, with people behind the camera. And I must have been 2 videos, and then I've just, in general, with lockdown, just sort of quit it because you've run out of ideas so easily.
You do. This is it. I mean, for me, obviously, lockdown in some ways is obviously the worst thing of all time because of why. For me, it's, I guess, been like a career blessing in disguise, because it's taken away all excuses in that whenever it did cut, I suddenly can't make money doing live shows anymore, which is where my income was. I was making some from TikTok and some from brand deals and stuff, but for the most part it was live shows. And as soon as that's taken away, it was like gun to my head, I need to start making content in the house. And you'd be surprised how much you can think of whenever you absolutely have to, you know.
Yeah, you're forced to make content, you know.
You did that.
Exactly.
Was it the Magic Room? I think it was on Monday nights for ages.
That's right.
I remember saying to myself, like, this Monday I'll try to get down and see that. I could just never ever get out to it in time. But
whenever it goes back to normal, we'll sort you boys out with tickets. It'll be fun.
How often did you?
Daniel get up and he'll do a trick, and he'll do his hand hovering one. I'll come up and just boot him off.
That actually happened once before. There was a little girl in the audience who said that she knew a card trick, and I was like, absolutely.
Oh, fair enough.
And she did a trick for the audience. It was cute. Those shows were fun, man. They were really fun, and it was the first, I think, probably the first project that I did genuinely not for monetary reasons at all. Like, you have to eat, obviously, but I was in a position where I was doing corporate shows and I was making like social media money, so I was able to do a project purely for fun. Because the thing, as you get a bigger like name and you can start to charge more for events, you typically will do less shows. And I missed doing a show every single week like I would have done before. So I created that room. For those of you watching who don't know, it's basically a 10-seater theater in a tiny room. That's a room that's been built for a magic show. Like, everything with the walls and everything in the room's there for a reason. So which was a really, really nice idea, and it worked. But it's fun because unlike a big stage magic show where you have a couple of hundred people and there's people coming up on stage, every single person in the room is like an arm's length from you, so everyone's involved in the magic, which is cool.
Very interactive, you know.
I would imagine that you'd be unreal at escape rooms. I've done about 3, and I think we need to get me and Arron in an escape room, and you and the one next to us, and see who gets out first.
you could have me and you and 6 other people in the room.
Yeah, we'll solve the first.
Probably still get out first.
And Joel's been out for 5 minutes.
You'd be surprised though. You'd be surprised. Yes, in some ways, and no in others. Hilariously, the magic room, which is the 10-seater room I talked about, is actually joined right beside an escape room. Don't know if you guys knew that, but it's like you walk out of my door and immediately on the left there's an escape room. It's built in the same complex. So that's where I got the idea from. And I remember while that room was being built, I was used as a test rabbit to see if I could solve the puzzles. And like, see that some of the stuff I was good at. Like, I could find stuff and see when stuff wasn't right, and I could see the cracks in the walls and that sort of thing. But if it came down to a puzzle that involved numbers or letters, something, forget it. No way. I could not do it. And they had to change the escape room the first time because when we did it, we were just like, this is not possible. It's too hard. So they've changed it since.
It would have been weird if you were really good at the escape room and then nobody else could do it.
Yes. Well, we thought initially about building an escape room that was all magic themed, and I think since then someone's done it out in the States. I don't know if it ever happened, but which doesn't matter. Obviously, we
can just get the power.
But yeah, magic related escape room would be cool. Of course, some skills as a magician are useful, but you'd be surprised how not useful they are. In general, you know, a lot of it's cool, but it's not actually. It's not real life applicable. You know,
not practical. Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly.
I think, definitely get a group of 10 of us and stick you in another room. We're solved it in 55 minutes. You solved it in like 5. So
I just pick the locks and get out.
Yeah.
That is one thing. I remember doing an escape room where you had to pick a lock. I was good at that because I had learned how to do that with cuffs. But that was about it.
Yeah, I mean,
like the more people you have, the more mass hysteria it creates. You know, there's people screaming.
That's definitely true.
Like,
I think 3 people, you'd be way better for the most part because you could actually formulate a thought. Hilariously, one of my first TikTok live streams actually was doing an escape room, which was fun because we essentially had like 600 helpers. But that made it way worse because we were like, guys, what do you think we should do next?
Yeah.
Even if we kind of knew what we should do next, the ideas that people were coming up with were so ludicrous. You wouldn't believe it. Like some of the most obscure stuff.
There was one time I was in an escape room with this like really, really young kid, and not just me and him. There was other people there, but oh goodness, but we were, and the plot was like a Russian bomb, or whatever, and and this kid, and the doors opened and it revealed the bomb, and the bomb started beeping, and this kid lost it, like it started going. He thought he was doomed. Like he was off with it. But yeah, no, I've done a few escape rooms. They're good fun.
I think I've done one and I was horrible at it, so I wouldn't want to.
That would be terrifying, though. Can you imagine being a kid and this bomb going off and you can't really?
It's Russian as well, so you can't even read it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
I remember being in a museum as a kid and there was some sort of earthquake simulator and that stuff scared the hell out of me. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. There's been
it used to really scare me. Do you know those space simulations you'd walk into? There was one at Barry's, but like there was like you'd walk and then it would lift you up and then you would like go around and you would like time travel or whatever. That used to really scare me and people used to want to go on it with me and I was like, oh, okay.
It's really fun. If you're a magician, you carry all sorts of props, and whenever I went to Barry's the last time, we went on the ghost stream. And I had a fire sparkler on me, which basically fizzes like fire up in the air. And I was on with a couple of people and set that off halfway through, and the screams were unbelievable because of course they're like, "Oh my goodness, there's a trap in the cart." They didn't know what was going on.
That probably made the ride better, to be honest. Like,
yeah, I should have taken commission at the end, really, shouldn't
I? I don't know. Speaking about props, this podcast is just me being a complete stupid magician. You ever get those light up? You ever get those light up thumbs?
Yes.
So like
I think I have some over there actually.
Yeah, I had a light up thumb, and I threw the light to my other hand, and I went like this to try and catch it, and just flicked the thumb off the end of my wrist, and it just went flying into the corner of nowhere. And I remember the person I was doing the trick.
If you ever want some light entertainment, I don't know if you guys have pets, but dogs go absolutely crazy for those thumbs. They just can't understand what's happening. I must make a video sometime using them because you can get them for like 99p on eBay now. They used to sell for like 30 quid from Marvin's Magic or whatever back in the day, but now everything's so cheap. And you can get like a big pack of them and stand around in a circle with your family and just have these light up thumbs, throwing them back and forth, and the dogs go ballistic. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah, no, I'm looking back, see, I'm a flipping woeful magician. Arron, I'll tell you, I must have. I think it was not last summer, but the summer before. There was a period. I remember not last summer. There was a period of time where I was obsessed with magic, and like any shop we went into, I was like, "Is there a deck of cards in here that I could buy?" Like I was obsessed, and like I remember going into Poundland or something. Oh, unreal. But class. I don't know how I've upgraded the limited minutes for class.
Perfect.
I don't know how
I didn't know what you were on about. I was like, is he just reading the text? I was like,
I thought you just got an email that said yes, I'm confirmed. I'm like, happy days, man. I'm delighted for you.
He's won something. He's like, oh, that's class, right? Moving back, you know.
But, I think I went in and there was like a 4-pack of playing cards for, it must have been a party. And I went in and I took one, and then I was like, oh, this is brilliant. And then we came back later and I was like, yeah, give me 2 seconds. I think I'll go back and get another packet. I must have genuinely about 25 decks of cards just sitting in one big pack.
And that's just from that summer that he was obsessed.
And haven't touched since. Like, I haven't touched them at all.
You shouldn't feel guilty. Every single magician goes through that phase where it just consumes them. Like, I do remember that for me as well. And I had a really fun experience there as a magician, because, you know, whenever you're into magic, like, all you can think about is like, oh, I'm going to buy these cards or get this prop or whatever. And ever since I was a kid, like when it was Christmas or birthday time, I would get a magic book or a deck of cards or whatever it is. But like, I didn't grow up in a wealthy family. So like, it was like sparingly, and which made it exciting whenever I did get stuff. But whenever I landed my first TV gig, we were given a budget for magic, and holy moly, my brain was just like, I'm going to go all out, because suddenly there was money to spend just on magic tricks. It was like Christmas Day from every single day as a child rolled into one. It was the best. And I got that out of my system now, which is good.
Did you ever watch Chris Ramsey on YouTube?
Yeah, I got to hang out with Chris at so we were at the Blackpool Magic Convention, the world's biggest magic convention, and I was there for the first time this year. Chris is just a lovely guy. He's really, really welcoming. I doubt he'll end up hearing this, but if you are, Chris, you made me feel very welcome in a group that I wasn't part of, so thank you. He's a super cool guy.
Yeah, no, I've watched him a few times. He has an unbelievable amount of literally forgot decks of cards. You'd think, speaking of magician, I don't know what decks of cards are. But
crazy. No, he's super good with the cards though, and like built a really good brand for himself. In the last couple of years, he's just exploded. Bless him, like he can't walk anywhere around that Blackpool Magic convention though. Like he just gets stuck because in magic, like obviously you have A-list celebrities in real life, but you also have like A-lister magician celebrities, you know, and he is like top at the minute. Everyone just walking into the bars and stuff. Sorry if you can hear dogs barking in the background, by the way. Must be pizza arrived. But he has it crazy. Super nice guy.
And they call me the king of transitions. It's no big deal. Speaking of A-lister magicians, I know, I just said you were it's highly embarrassing. You were in Dynamo's video for throwing the card tricks. That's class. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you how that came about. Just throw a little card here, you know. The reason that came about, so I cheated the system, I guess, in a little bit. In that my best friend, he's an Australian guy, Bo, from out in Australia, from Melbourne. He moved over here, and we basically in the last year become friendly. But he recently, alongside working for me as my consultant, he now works for Dynamo creatively. Okay. So whenever the opportunity came up to recruit magicians, I managed to smuggle in there. It was good fun.
That was.
But it is cool though. Like I've been such a big fan of Dynamo for years, so that was fun.
Yeah. Speaking, I mean, King of Transitions again. He's back again. I've actually got deck cards here, and you were saying, hey, simmer down, lads. It's not a big deal. I've got a deck of cards. I haven't done this. We're flipping dropping them already.
Am I going to get to see a trick?
Oh, I hope not.
I hope so, because no one ever does tricks for me. I always have to do them to other people, so this is exciting, man.
I mean, if I fill you, this is going to be some spectacle, I'll tell you.
Hit me.
Right, okay. Oh dear. I've just thrown these everywhere. Oh dear. Oh, this is going for
We'll just talk amongst ourselves while we.
I don't even. What am I even gonna do? Okay. Well, right. Okay.
I gotta tell you though, there's magicians who deliberately drop cards at the start of their set to make the spectators think, "Oh, he doesn't know what he's doing," and then they just punch him in the gut with something unbelievable. You know, so maybe this is the tactic that Daniel's trying to play on us here, Arron.
Right. Where do you see this? Well, I'm making this up off the top of my head. I'll shuffle these about here. Give them a wee quick shuffle.
Yes, sir.
Just flip's sake. Just tell me when to stop. So just say stop whenever.
Stop.
Okay. Unreal. Okay. So I'm not gonna look at it. Don't worry. Oh, that's all right. I accidentally looked at that. We'll go for this card instead. That's your card. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna shuffle the cards about. I'm not a Scooby-Doo when I'm doing. We're gonna shuffle the cards about. We're gonna split the cards. Can I actually see this? We're gonna split the cards into 2 piles, and then I'm just gonna magically. It'd be good if Arron was here to kick one on the table. We're gonna magically just pick Joel's card from thin air. If this works,
I'm ready.
I'm
so ready.
Fully taking on magic. If this works, I'm fully taking on magic. Okay, here we go. Joel's card is...
If you get this right, we're going to be very impressed. You know that?
That?
Was that?
Yes!
Was that it?
Oh, it's that? No, it's not.
Oh.
Wasn't it.
Oh.
That's disgusting.
Oh,
no. Loser, Daniel.
What a waste. What a waste of a...
No!
What was your card?
Card was the Jack of Clubs.
Hold on, I'm going to ask you that again in a second. Hold on 2 seconds.
You could have actually just went, oh, can you teach me a trick instead of digging yourself into...
I'm absolutely... you know? Sorry, Joel. What was your card, Joel? Sorry?
The Jack of Clubs there, Daniel.
You mean this one here?
Hey!
Yeah.
Did you know what's crazy as well? Right, you were obviously holding... Here, I have a deck cards here as well. Yeah. All we can do, right, is when you were the one shuffling the cards, so I wouldn't have known where you were going to say stop, right?
Yeah.
So we just like that, and then just pull one out invisibly and just toss it in my pocket. Yeah, so we got it. We get it? Ooh. Yeah, we did it.
Unbelievable.
I just took it out. I just took it out during the trick.
This is why you're a magician and not me. That's okay. You know.
No, I don't have real wizard powers. You'd be surprised at what you get away with, though. See, when you're performing live, like the amount of times that you'll tell someone, you know, you grab a card from the middle and they pick one, and just because they're being careless, you just see it, and then you just you just continue as if you don't know. You can blow people's minds with that stuff, or just taking a guess. Sometimes that works as well.
Yeah. There was one time that happened, and I felt like I'd scored the winner of the World Cup. I was like this, booyah, and just started running about the place. Brilliant.
Is there any magicians like on Britain's Got Talent or anything that you look at and go like once again with the movies, but like if there's any like Britain's Got Talent ones that like just seem like completely impossible, where there was a guy, I think he got a golden buzzer because he showed a video of his newborn baby.
Mark
in something like 2 years ago, and it was like is that just possible?
Mark was awesome. That was great stuff, and I think with those talent shows, it comes down so much to the story that you're telling around it. Like if he had just done that trick and then predicted it himself 2 years ago, it wouldn't have been as big a thing. But when you wrap it in that amazing story, it becomes a lot bigger for sure. I think, to be fair, like now and again, you still see someone as a magician that fools you, and it's just the best feeling in the world because
like what I just
as a magician, you get fooled less and less by nature the more you do it. So that feeling of getting fooled is pretty good. There was, I remember 2 years ago on Britain's Got Talent, a guy called Ben Hart who was on, and he did the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I think is he in the army or something?
That's not him. That was Richard. This guy, Ben's. We have a lot of mutual friends. I haven't actually got to meet him in person, but I've spoken to Ben before. He does this trick where he takes a piece of confetti. He has everyone in the audience write down something on a piece of confetti, and then one gets picked. And in this case, it was egg. And he takes the piece of confetti that says egg and puts it on like a fan, and he bounces the confetti up, and it slowly transforms into an egg. And then he cracks the egg, and I saw it in person there at Blackpool lecture, and it blew my mind so much. It was like watching actual real magic in person. You couldn't believe it.
That would be me screaming witchcraft and walking out the door.
If you want to watch a magician who's going to fool you, there's a guy called Azzy Wind, ASIWIND. You should watch his performance on Penn and Teller. Fool Us. That's a trick it is good stuff.
Have you ever thought about going on BGT?
I don't think I would do BGT. I think if I was going to do one of them, I would probably do AGT now, just because most of my audience now is in America. So, and it's just a bigger platform. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've been asked lots of times, scouted, but I just don't think the time's right now. It's difficult. Like maybe I'm never going to say never. Maybe I will. One of my friends and someone I consider a mentor, Colin, was on it a couple of years ago, and it's just like changed everything for me. He was going to make it anyway, but he killed on there.
I mean, Joel, when you win one of the Got Talents, I'll say, who's on the DOLECAST? Just
this is it, dude. It's one of my friends is on AGT this year, a guy called Ryan Tricks. He's on this year. His edition was out. You should go check it. Really good stuff. And then on BGT this year, a friend of mine, Damien's on. They love magicians on those talent shows now. They always do pretty well. Like, I mean, especially at the start of those shows, they didn't used to, but now you can't get enough of them.
That's the thing for me. It's like when you see a singer come on the Britain's Got Talent, I'm like, there's X Factor over there for you, Yes. But when you see a magician come on, you're like, cracker. We're in for a good show.
Yeah, or like when you want to see a dancing dog or something different on Britain's Got Talent. You don't want to see the singers and the songwriters, although they're amazing.
They're very good. But it's not like there's solely magicians got talent. There's dancing dogs got talent. It's like
Exactly, yeah. I think those shows, obviously, if you know what you're doing, have incredible potential. They can change your life overnight for sure. I don't think the time's right for me to do it. I'm enjoying building my audience up at the moment. But I'm never going to say never. Like, you could see me on ATT next year. I don't know what's going to happen.
And I'll stand up and I'll say, even the DOLECAST.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, I have my own show coming out on BBC. We don't have a date yet. But whenever that comes out, it might be strange to go from having my own series to then doing a talent show. I'm not sure. Although I do have friends who have done that. So we'll play it by ear. It's certainly interesting. If I was going to do it, I'd want to go on and do something absolutely amazing. Like you need to do something huge for sure.
In terms of recording that, what was that like, recording the TV show?
TV show was great. I mean, we got really, really lucky in the director, which is the best. I mean, his name's Joe Campo, and he was just, I mean, the best person to work with from day one. He just got it. He had never shot magic for TV before, but just immersed himself in watching magic on TV, getting to know how to do it. And whenever, that's the biggest thing, is working with people who, when they don't know how to do something, they're just like, right, I'm going to learn. So from the get-go, it was really, really good. I mean, the TV show, like, it's BBC NI, so it's not like a Dynamo or Darren Brown budget. So we had to get creative and make it more story-driven. It was really fun. I mean, I had the time of my life doing it, for sure. It was lots of early mornings and late nights getting it done. And that's only for 3 half-an-hour episodes. So how people like record, like Chris Angel did 6 seasons of Mind Freak, which I don't know how much work must go into something like that. And he's doing big illusion stuff. So we started small, but hopefully we'll do another season.
I think I've done 2 extra jobs in like film and TV or whatever. And like, I obviously, as a pointless, worthless extra, you just sit back and you're like, you just look at everyone else and you're like, that's a lot of work. And you've probably got about 2 minutes of film for 8 hours of work, Well,
this is it. I mean, it was funny because the people we were working with, kind of, there's that stereotype of the talent on screen is usually the person who does the least work. But with the Magicians TV show, that's definitely not the case. Not for us anyway, because you know, if you look at some of the really big magicians, and it's probably what I would want to go towards as well. You have a big team of consultants around you and you're all working on, but this was just me and one other guy working on all the magic for the TV show. So it was a lot of work off set and then getting it on set. And it's interesting because it's not like you're filming a TV show where it's acting. Like, if it goes wrong, you kind of have one shot. The way our TV show worked is, it's not like street magic and stuff. There's one person or one group of people per episode that you're focused on, which means you really do have one take for each trick. And if you balls it up, then that's that whole segment gone and you have to come up with something else. Which made it exciting. It meant that filming happened faster because we had to get it all done in one day. It was the nearest thing, I guess, to it being live, I guess.
Did anything go wrong, or did it all go smooth enough?
Oh yeah, loads went wrong. But of course, that's going to happen. You'll never... Thing is, stuff goes wrong in magic all the time, but you don't really see it because you can fix it as you go along if you have enough experience. So nothing drastically went wrong. I mean, there's obviously little bits and pieces like with like technical difficulties and reshoots and stuff, but for the most part, it was pretty smooth, to be fair.
No, fair enough. So watch out when it comes out. Then do you don't have a date then? No.
Well, it was going to be out already, but because of what's happening now, it's just getting promoted and stuff. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see it. To be honest, we filmed everything in 2019, and then it was edited at the start of 2020. So I've seen it all, but it's almost felt like I'm now past that now. Like, it's as if that project's finished and gone, whereas really it hasn't even technically started yet, if you know what I mean. Which is cool in some ways, but it is. The worst part, I'll tell you this now, if you ever do a TV show, the worst part of filming a TV show is watching it back in the editing suite. That I honestly thought I was going to be sick. Like, I don't get nervous performing ever now, really, not at all. But see, sitting in the editing suite about to watch it for the first time, I actually was sweating and shaking. It's because you work, unlike with, say, TikTok, where you film something, you can instantly watch it back and go, I'll not upload that, or I'll redo it. You work for like 4 months on this show and you don't see any of it, and it's in someone else's hands, and then you have to sit down and just watch the final result, and you're like, and of course then you have creative input as to what stays and what goes, but that was horrible. I wouldn't want to do that again.
Yeah, I think I have that sort of same thing, either editing Daniel's videos where it's like, this is a train wreck, or like performing doing drama or something, and then you record a practice act, or you do 20 minutes rehearsal, watching it back, and you just get this like gut-wrenching feeling where it's like, Nah, but it does tend to work out in the end, you know. So
of course it does. I think, you know, if you're any sort of entertainer or performer, you're so used to that immediate feedback. Like if I'm performing a trick on stage, I can instantly gauge what the audience is saying and what they're reacting to. Whereas with a TV show, I'm probably never going to know really what people thought of it, because I'm never going to see the raw reaction. The only people that I'm going to see the raw reaction of are family and friends, who are obviously going to tell me it's good anyway. So that in of itself is strange. Obviously the ratings and stuff will sort of speak for itself, but we'll see.
Joel, don't worry. See, when I watch it, I'll give you the full honest opinion. Don't worry. I will.
Yes, that's what I want to hear.
I'll let you know.
Make me cry, you know, brutally beat me down.
Tears of joy, though. Tears of joy. Only want tears of joy.
Has there ever, I think you talked about this in your TikTok, has there ever been a time where you said you'd hypnotize someone, and did it ever go wrong?
I've never had hypnotizing someone go really wrong before. I've heard horror stories of people doing it. I play closer to the safe side. I don't do any hypnotherapy either, which a lot of hypnotists and magicians who can't get work as magicians would go into hypnotherapy. I've never done that. I've always liked it as entertainment, so I've never had any real horror stories. The closest I had to something being bad was still pretty funny, in that there's a friend of mine who's really susceptible, and like to the extremity where if I called him up right now and said sleep over the phone, he would just conk out all the way over in Scotland. I mean, it's crazy. But we had him doing all sorts of things. Like we played the floor is lava game with him, where the floor was lava to him. He jumped up on a radiator that was scalding hot and was happy enough there, and the radiator like fell off the wall. It was away in a summer camp when I was like 17, when I was first learning hypnosis properly. The worst thing that happened with hypnosis, two things was, once I hypnotized a girl to think she was, I think, like some sort of like reptile or something. She was crawling about. I just went head first into an expensive painting that was like resting up along, or they had a glass frame, so it smashed that and everything. That was pretty bad. Out of all the places, I know. And she had a scar from it as well. Yeah, but I mean, there's some things aren't in your control, but you do have to play safe. And then the one time that was kind of bad was the first time I ever hypnotized someone. I was reading a book on how to hypnotize people, and I was obviously, you know, enamored by this, and was going, oh my goodness, I'm gonna do this and do this. All right, and then I was like, oh, I have to head out. I'm going to my friend's party, so I went out. I was maybe 15. Maybe younger, got to the party. It was like a bonfire on the beach or something, and went up to one of my friends, Rory, took his hand, did what's called a handshake snap induction, put him to sleep, bang, sleep, and he's just bigger than me, fell onto me, and I couldn't hold him, so I had to put him down on the floor. But of course, I've only read half the book, so I don't know how to wake him up. So he's now... So I just had to wait. I just had to wait for him to eventually stir, and up he gets, and he didn't know what had happened, and I had to kind of explain to him afterwards. So always finish the hypnosis book or the hypnosis course before you go out and start snapping people to sleep.
That's the strangest bit of advice I've ever heard, but you know what? It's like a really good
advice for life.
It is, you know. Hypnosis is weird though, bro, because whenever you start learning it, always in the back of the head, you're always thinking, is this real or is this just some sort of joke? Is it all just people playing along? And then eventually you do it and you go, oh, this is actually a thing. Oh my goodness, this is real. And that's a really strange moment, because you feel like you have so much control over the person very suddenly. And then once you do it once, you kind of get addicted to it. Of course, every single person reacts differently to it, and not everyone's going to be as susceptible, but it's a pretty crazy skill.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to learn hypnosis, and then they actually thought I was too evil. So they just said, Daniel, just you chill out with that.
you're too evil. Yeah, see, the thing is, as well, is with hypnosis, like magic, there's a wall you have to go through, which is really difficult, which is you have to be willing to do it and get it wrong, which can be really embarrassing. Part of it is you're more likely to get it wrong if you don't seem confident. So you have to go out the first time you do it, and you have to act like you've done it 100 times before, and be absolutely willing for it just to not work. And once you've had it not work 20 times and you suddenly realize, oh, now I can make it work, it gets easier.
Yeah. Have you ever been doing a trick on someone? I know you said earlier about guys at bars and stuff. Has there ever been someone that you've done a trick for, and halfway through you've just thought, this guy's not great, or this is gonna go, you know, this guy's
all the time, and it's most often guys who are just a few years older than me. Typically it'll be like the alpha male of the group. But I mean, when that happens, for the most part, you're better off just going, all right, folks, like, and because if you try to fight back at it, it makes it so much worse, and suddenly you're trying to prove something to them. That's something I had to learn personally, as I always wanted to for years impress people. That's typically why people get into magic anyway. That's less of my reasoning for it now, but if I saw a guy who wasn't impressed, I would do everything to impress him. But of course, the more they can tell that, the more they're just going to feel higher status and push back at you, right? So sometimes people are genuinely just like, nah, I don't think magic's good, and you can win them over. But for the most part, if someone starts off in a bad mood, then you're almost better just focusing all your positive energy on the people who are enjoying it. 100%. And usually what I find, this is just a little social dynamic tip anyway, is if someone is giving you grief, whether you're performing or just chatting, if someone is, just don't give them that attention. Put all your attention on the other people. Eventually you're going to win them over, and they're going to look like the tool for being a prick to you in the first place.
Yeah. 100%.
And that happens when you're doing close-up magic, because of course you're going in saying, look at me, look at what I can do. And by nature, you're trying to put yourself up on a pedestal, right? But if most magicians would do that, if you just go in like an average person, when I perform close-up magic now, I go in and don't tell people I'm a magician for the first 30, 40 seconds of conversation. Just chat with them first, get on their side, and then do it way better.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Having said that, we did have one recently where a guy kind of snapped at us. I say we.
Nice.
One of my friends, Lee, he's just an absolute hero. And in fact, Lee, I'll have to remind him of this story. It's funny. We were on a night out in Belfast, and this was just before lockdown, and we decided that we were going to do this thing where he's a magician as well, where we both would take it in turns to do card tricks, but the way we were going to do it was put our hands through the other person's arms and approach people doing tricks, but like with my arms through his. And you'd be surprised on a night out how many people didn't clock that it wasn't his hands or my hands. So we go up to this one group of people, and there was an alpha male there, and immediately I just, even from behind Lee, I was like, oh, this guy's a loser. Like, there's no way we're winning these guys over. And the rest wanted to see it, but we were doing the trick very clearly, making a joke out of the fact that it's not Lee's hands. But this guy, in his deluded little mind, thought that he had figured the trick out because he realized that they weren't his hands. He thought that was the trick. So he was just, oh, I know it's not right. We're like,
oh, dear.
Sherlock, of course.
These aren't actually your hands.
And Lee was just the boldest person in the world, and I can't remember what he said to him, but whatever he said didn't go down well. I just like, slip the hands out of there, like, cause
you have to fight the guy as Lee's hands.
Don't watch his
throw cards at him, like
you literally could go start going like this, and the guy would think you're fighting Lee, be like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Exactly. Well, this is it. And the funny thing is, some people genuinely, the whole trick, wouldn't realize that it was the other person's hands. That was a strange night. We also convinced some group of people that guy Lee was a billionaire, and that led to all sorts of things as well. You'd be surprised. People fall for all sorts of stuff. Like, as a magician, you do realize that people are really smart, but they're also, if you just say something in a really convincing way, people are pretty gullible, like, for the most part, including me. You can convince people of almost anything if you have some sort of social proof there.
Yeah.
No, fair enough.
It's a big thing in magic. I mean, magicians are just actors pretending to be magicians, really.
Yeah, if you don't have the stage presence, then that takes a lot of it out of it. You know.
100%. I mean, my favorite magicians and the biggest magicians in the world aren't the most technically skilled magicians on the planet, not by any means. In fact, probably closer to the bottom side compared to the incredible sleight of hand artists there are today. But that's not what it's about. Lay people or muggles or normal regular people who don't know magic don't care about how good your double undercut side steal with a deck of cards is. They just want to be entertained for the most part.
Mine is pretty impressive, but yeah, I mean, some people think.
I was about to say, I didn't see you fiddling with the cards. I didn't even spot it. It was so good.
Yeah, I can turn them invisible and everything.
You know, out of all the tricks I've seen you done, that's the worst. Yeah. And that's saying something. Like, you know, I've seen you do this like 30 times, and that was the worst one.
There's been several tricks where I've just halfway through went, this is bad idea. I've got plenty more cards. I just run.
I think one of those times that you were doing that, I went back. We were at this youth hostel. I went back to my room to charge my phone or something, and Daniel sprints and he goes, "I need you to come sit back down at the table. I need you to come sit back down at the table right now." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "I've told him I'm way to the toilet. I'm going to go to the toilet, and you're going to come back in." I was like, "Hey guys, have you seen Daniel?" And they're like, "No, he's at the toilet." I'm like, "Well, okay, maybe I'll just sit down at the table then and wait for him." You know, just really robotically say, and then just put him on the table again.
Unbelievable.
You know?
But you know what though, it gets worse. The more you're known as being a magician, the more people expect it to be good.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, whenever I would approach people like at tables when they didn't know that I was decent at magic, you could set the barrier of entry really low. So then when you do something good, it's really impressive. But if people have come to see a show and they paid money for a ticket, you have to be good. So if something goes wrong then, it's so much more embarrassing.
Yeah,
there was one time that was really bad, and usually you can get out of it, but there's only been one time on stage where I just haven't been able to get out of it. and that was well, 2 times. One was worse than the other. Once was a big prediction effect where I had a prediction hanging above the stage with a big word on it, and basically I predict a word from a newspaper, but I became painfully aware halfway through.
Well, yeah, I think you do that trick, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I became painfully aware of the fact that I didn't know what the word on the scroll was about halfway through the trick. And I was like, right, it has to be. You just got to go for it. I was like, right, I think it's this word. So I went for it, and the scroll came down, and no, wrong word.
Exactly.
That's it. Like, there's just no way out of that at that point. That's it. Game over.
There's nothing worse than going.
Do you know what would be amazing if you predicted a word and then you rearranged it and it came out as the actual word you were looking for? Like that's an even bigger trick. You just won them up.
Well, to be fair, that wasn't as bad as the time I was doing a cabaret show, and I brought a girl up on stage, and there's a trick I do all the time where I fill a glass, like a pint glass, up with like water or whatever drink it is. I usually borrow it and then turn it upside down. The water stays in the glass. I put it over the person's head, pull like a piece of paper away, and while the water's levitating.
Oh, dear.
And yeah, if you do enough shows, something's gonna go wrong. I don't know what I did, but lack of preparation maybe, or just lots of awareness. That water came flooding down on a poor girl's head, and like she was, I mean, it was a cabaret show, so she was done up to the hills. I mean, full makeup and hair, splashed water all over.
I think what it was, she was walking up the stage, you thought, yeah, I don't like this girl. Douche water everywhere.
Well, I did do it on purpose once, actually. I did do it on purpose once.
Good lad.
Because I knew I would get away with it. It was in the magic room, and there was who was with 5 of his kids, and he was just a happy, like, clowny dad, just trying to make his kids laugh. And the kids were responding, but like the magic is a bit more adult. I always say that show's better for 10 plus. Like, you have to there's a lot of mind reading in the show. So the kids were kind of enjoying it, but it wasn't their thing. So I knew if I just spill water over this dude's head, these kids are gonna go nuts. So I kind of gave him the look, and he would be cool with it and splash the water. He was bald, like, so it didn't make a difference, and that was it. He was happy out.
Just a bit of slapstick, just as what
yeah, the kids went mad for it, and afterwards
we had
a towel. Yeah, like one day it's gonna happen. I know it. I haven't been punched through magic yet, but we'll see.
Well, if he's coming towards you, you could just do your hypnotherapy on him and just put him to sleep.
Shut him down.
True. That is true. I don't have the speed or I don't have the awareness to do that outside of the magic. I've always said to myself, I need to learn some sort of martial arts or something, because I am so useless at anything like that. It needs to be an extra little weapon in my arsenal in case that ever happens.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know what you mean. But we've got a few listeners' questions here. The favorite part of the podcast. So Ollie Scott, he was actually on the podcast last week. He says, nice. Do you play any sports or hobbies?
I used to play sports when I was forced to in grammar school. I played football for years. I don't right now. Sports has never been my thing. I mean, I like getting exercise, but I don't play sports. My other hobby outside magic would be music. That was my thing in school. So I play a whole bunch of instruments, and I was more the music kid than the magic kid for school for the most part. Yeah. Even though I was piano and drums and guitar and that sort of thing, that would be my...
Like, that'll be in class, a music/magic show.
We actually went down that route for a while. A couple of my stage acts we've done it, but the difficulty is getting a piano to the venue. It's always the difficulty. If there's ever a piano there by chance, we do it. Well, we did once roll a piano into a space. Let me tell you something messed up. Have you guys ever been to Space in Bangor? You know, the tech theater?
I thought you were going to say, have you guys ever been to Space? I was like, we're not that good.
I was there last week. All this corona stuff, I've had enough. I'm off to Space again.
Still the rocket.
But have you ever been into that theater before?
Yes, I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
Right. Let me tell you something messed up about it. They have a grand piano in that theater, okay? But you can't get the grand piano into the auditorium because they built a single door. So there's a grand piano in the venue, but you can't use it because it's blocked by a door. Whoever engineered that was a bad movie.
So we actually getting the piano in itself, you know.
We did a show in there, and we had to bring our own piano in because we couldn't get the piano into the venue.
Unbelievable.
That's just bad design. That's just bad design. At that point,
it's the type of thing I would do, sort of mistake I would make.
Samuel Beatty says, does Joel have a favourite trick?
I do actually. My favourite trick is both of them. My 2 favourite tricks are with a piano, funny enough, because they're 2 that I do that I don't think anybody else does. So they're ones that are 4 stage. One of them we did, we borrow if you ever come to my show and I'm doing this, act as if you're surprised by the outcome. But I borrow a wedding ring of a lady up in the stalls, but I don't go into the stalls, and she's asked to put it in her hands and hold it like this. Mm-hmm. There's a whole story around it, but basically the ring ends up tied to the piano string on stage without me ever going back and forth. That's one of my favorite tricks. And whenever we developed that, myself and my manager Shane, who's also one of my closest friends, he was a magician as well. We were coming up for that trick. We came up with the idea of it, and then we tried to figure out how we could do it. And we spent 48 hours with very little sleep trying to think of this way of doing this trick. And it's one of those things where when you know the secret, it's better than the actual trick itself. Like, that's the best type of magic, is when you know the secret, you're even more impressed. But we had experimented with like pieces of invisible thread. We could like throw a ring from the top of the stage and like we'd go down past it. We had all sorts of crazy, stupid ways of doing it.
A bunch of fish lines, a whole bunch of
thing, and we ended up like thinking about, do we carve a hole in the piano? But we forgot all that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were gonna say the trick requires you go in, you ask for a lady's ring, you put it in your pocket, and you walk off stage.
And you run out.
Well, I did lose an engagement ring once when I was a kid doing a magic trick. We were in Cyprus at my uncle's wedding, and I was doing tricks not for them but for another couple. And I was doing like a trick where you take a ring and it disappears, and it's meant to come back. But it didn't come back because I made it disappear, and then was like, "Oh, get back to that later," and did other tricks, and then walked away forgetting that I was. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, can we have the ring back?" And I'm like, where is that ring? Couldn't find it. Turns out it was in my pocket the whole time, really down in the bottom corner. But for 2 hours, the entire wedding party were searching around for this. It was an engagement ring, so they just got engaged. Yeah, and it was in my pocket.
I thought the trick just worked so well, just evaporated.
Yeah, I was like, I told you.
That would be one time that you really disappear. You know? Yeah. That'd be me on a
bring
flight.
Bring it back, it's going to cost extra.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good marketing employee, to be fair.
I'm telling you, yeah.
You know,
that's brilliant. I'll make your rent disappear, but you have to pay me an extra 20 quid if you want it back.
It's that whole thing of, can you saw someone in half? It's like, yeah, most people can. Put them back together is the harder part. Like, you gotta think ahead here. Ask specifically for what you want.
100%. I mean, that's class. But yeah, I think what time are we up?
Time flies when you're
I think we're actually about 50 minutes in, which is mad.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long do your things usually last for?
Probably
I think about an hour and 10 minutes. If you want to go, that's sweet. But yeah, next 10 minutes we'll fill it out of just staring into nothing.
Drivel. I love it. Yeah, that's always the best part of a podcast, is the bit at the end where they kind of run out and you just go, should we just talk about something?
Yeah. The thing is with us, I mean, when there's 2 of us, we can talk some pure nonsense, you know.
Here's a question. I don't actually have these. Gurley, do you have the tier list?
I wrote out just a few questions. I'm not going to say them now because we've went through pretty much all of them. But basically, a few episodes ago, you know tier lists. Like you've got God tier A, B, C, D, E, and F. We took out F and we named it the Shadow Realm. And when you put things into the tier list and how good they are and how bad they are.
Yeah.
A few episodes ago, I think it was about 2 months ago, just before, I think it was 10 days before lockdown. It was mad. Because you look back on that now, you're like, you don't know how close to lockdown you actually were until you were
in
it.
Crazy.
We did UK sweets, and skits and stuff. So from just your own personal preference, I'd like to know from God tier down to the Shadow Realm. Like a shadow, you wouldn't even go near it. You know what I mean? When you put something in the Shadow Realm, it is gone, disintegrated.
It's gone.
Like that.
There's no coming back at that point.
Gone. Exactly. So I've just got a few items here. So a cream egg, a Cadbury's cream egg.
Okay, so before I answer, just remind me, it goes God tier's top, right?
Yeah, very, very.
And then it's and then what's after that? Just so I get it.
Like God tier, top, mid, low, Shadow Realm, just as simple as that, you know.
I would put a cream egg, like, I gotta be honest with you, I would put it top tier. The issue with the cream egg, like, I love the taste and everything, but the one issue is I always find that my teeth just feel so rank after I've had a cream egg, and that kind of ruins it for me. Yeah, and they're a bit of a pain to eat, but like, it is worth it. I mean, I'm not against a cream egg.
I think you always have to like bite them in half, and then you go from there, you know, or you
really do.
you don't want to go full bite on a cream egg. That's all I'm saying. You don't want to go full bite because
it's a dangerous, reckless move. Really,
that's just a choking hazard all in itself, you know. So
I'm gonna keep embarrassing myself. I made the mistake of doing that once, and I was like, I can just do this whole, and I went in, and I was like,
no.
I just did a bad thing. I shouldn't have done that.
Nah, you've underestimated the cream egg there. Like you can't do that.
The worst you possibly do is
next one, licorice.
Oh, mate, licorice for me it's low tier. Like for me, licorice is low tier. I don't know what it is about it, but I just never enjoyed it. I mean, if you put a gun to my head, I would eat it, but I would never go out of my way to buy licorice. Never have I, never will I.
We sent her down to the shadow realm. I think that's where we put her. But I think we had some items where you were like, it's like if they're there at the house, you go into the cupboard and there's some there, you're gonna eat them. But it's not something you'd walk into the shop and be like, oh, I want that.
100%. Well, you see, the reason I didn't put it in the shadow realm there is because I know that my girlfriend's grandmother does love some licorice. And I'm not, who am I to say that I won't one day go into a shop to buy some for her? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Fair enough. So next, a custard cream, the next one.
Can I just say how much I love this? This is better than anything we've talked about up to this part.
We got through 40, 50 minutes just rambling about food, and it turned out pretty good to be fair. So
I'm going to answer the custard cream.
Yeah, forget your... Yeah, go for it.
Well, before I even say the custard cream, a similar game that you may want to play sometime that myself and one of my good friends, Chris, play, is we name a celebrity and we have to say whether they're an A-lister to a Z-lister, and depending on how relevant they are. And like A-lister, like the A-listers, like you can't just say they're an A-lister. Like you might put The Rock as an A-lister, but like Johnny Depp, because he hasn't been doing as much recently, doesn't count as an A-lister anymore. You have to be super harsh. Enjoy that game for yourself.
It has to be like anyway in the moment, you know.
I mean, exactly. It's like where are they now?
You've got Jennifer Aniston. You took what 1999 today. You put her at God tier. Nowadays, you know, we're still famous.
Yeah, like when she was doing her Adam Sandler movies, she might have been like B+ tier.
Bumped up a wee bit, but
I mean, I think it's fair to say that we'll all go in the A tier after this. I think we're all
absolutely. I mean, there's no question.
We are the top.
I do, to be honest, I put myself as like an R class before. Like I had to place myself because like TikTokers are low on the food chain. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we build our way up, maybe like a bit higher once the TV show comes out, but I mean, you gotta put yourself. You got to know where you are.
Yeah. The TV show.
You've more.
God tier.
You have more TikTok followers than Gordon Ramsay. And that's a lot.
Mad about see Gordon Ramsay, my brother, a couple of months back on TikTok. Like I'm not kidding here. There's this dance on TikTok. I'm going to embarrass stuff here.
Oh, no.
Juice, sauce, a little bit of dressing.
Oh, yeah.
He came up with that. And he was the first person to do it. And like that sounds like, oh, my mate came up with this. He actually did come up with it. I remember being there when he filmed it, and he did it. He was like day 1 of doing my dance that blows up, and on like day 37, it blew up.
Is that Ethan?
That's Ethan.
Yes, I've seen
like Judy Dench has done it since. Gordon Ramsay's done it since. Like a rugby player did it on TV. I couldn't believe it. But Gordon Ramsay was the one for me. I was like,
yeah,
come on.
I saw that, and I thought he was like joking. I thought he was like, oh, that's incredible. I didn't know that.
He actually came up with it. Yeah, I could probably send you like a screenshot of him doing it first.
It's so good.
But like, not even like he was one of the first people to do it. Like he sat.
Yeah.
That's
crazy. Anyway,
the conceptualist, and he just went.
I decided where I'm going to place the custard cream.
Oh, that's what we were talking about.
Now, just to be clear, like custard creams for me, I wouldn't eat often. Like, they aren't in the house right now. But whenever I do eat a custard cream, it definitely skyrockets up to God tier for me. Like for me, a custard cream is right at the top of the food chain for a biscuit. It's easily one of my top 3.
I can't remember. Did I put it in the low tier?
I think you might have put it in low tier.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think.
Joel's like, and with that, we'll see you later.
Look, I mean, while we're talking about biscuits specifically, like if you want to know something that should be on the low tier, it's a biscuit. Bourbons, you know those chocolate bourbons? Not for me.
That's what we put in.
Yeah.
I like
where would you put the Pink Panther ones? Where would you put those?
Shadow realm. The shadow realm.
Yeah.
Stick them in the shadow realm.
Joel, this is the start of a beautiful friendship. So this is the best thing.
You're like, Joel, I wasn't sure about you this whole time, but now.
See, when you get your opinion on the Pink Panthers and the Shadow Realm, like the deepest, darkest pits of the Shadow Realm is where they belong.
We should start a club, and we just bring people into the Zoom meeting, and we asked them their opinions on bourbons and Pink Panthers. And if they don't like
100%.
it, we send them.
Do people have those biscuits outside in Northern Ireland, like Pink Panthers, or is that a thing that we just have?
I think it's a UK thing, as in Scotland, Wales, and all that.
Like, isn't Vita bread like strictly Northern Ireland?
Yeah,
like that malt.
Yeah,
it's just
we were gonna do US sweets and put them in a tier, but we just said
don't know them.
Every single one of them would either be don't know or Shadow Realm.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
When I was out in the States a couple of years ago, I put on so much like weight just from sweets. Like I just sat in that Jolly Ranchers all day.
They are nice though. They are nice.
I brought home a couple of kilo bags of them as well. It was worth every cent.
Going back to the Vita bread.
Oh no! Here, sorry.
My bad.
We've got about 3 more items left. Right,
I love that sentence. Going back to the Vita bread.
Yeah.
That's when you were like, so back to the custard cream. Right? I was like, you serious? You forget what you're talking about because the custard cream that leads into a whole other thing. We've got 3 more left for you.
Podcast ever.
Well, debatable.
Come on.
We'll put that in quotes and we'll market that. We'll market that as class. Got 3 more for you. Maltesers.
Ooh, Maltesers. See, I just associate Maltesers in my head now with the dogs because we feed Maltesers to the dogs as treats. Is that bad? Don't tell him we said that.
I don't know if chocolate's allowed, but yes, absolutely.
You should see the size of our dogs. I don't personally do it. Just want to throw that out there, but we leave it alone. Anyway, Maltesers, where would I put that? Right, well, I'm in 2 minds here because I'll eat Maltesers if they're there, right? They in terms of taste, they are high tier, but where I would put them, so I would put Maltesers at the absolute top of the celebrations box. So does that make it like, for me, that might make it, I'm going to say high tier. In
the celebrations tier list, it's probably like S tier, but for this, we'll bump it down to high tier then.
Yeah, exactly. Celebrations box tiering is important.
Well,
I mean, everyone has their own
celebrations box. Next one, Bounties, Bounty bar.
Look, are you boys Bounty boys? I'll tell you what I think. Do you like him?
Joel, this is another thing where we're like, we're gonna either keep you on the podcast or
you'll be booted off this very soon.
Like, Joel, we will ask the questions here, mate. Well, look, every time I eat a Bounty, I go, yeah, but I never eat them because when I'm in the celebrations box, I go, that's the one that's not my favorite. So I would put it. It's gonna go low tier for me.
We'll take it. It's okay. That's good. That's good. That is good.
It's all right. It's fine.
And I think, well, you could turn it around and completely a U-turn on us here, but we're going to end on a somewhat, hopefully, a high note. A nice Galaxy bar.
A nice Galaxy bar. Well, the fact that you've said nice there gives me a clue as to where you sit on the top.
No, but it's your tier list. We don't want to influence.
So, in terms of chocolate, right?
Basically, I've got a gun. All right. I've got a gun to
Yeah, I can see a little like red dot flicking through the window there. Now there's look, with Galaxy, I was one of these guys who, growing up, the only chocolate I would buy was Galaxy. That was it. Like I wouldn't even consider any other options. But now, as I've got older, I've actually replaced. I mean, this sounds very North Down, like middle class here, but I've transitioned over to Green and Black's chocolate as my chocolate of choice.
Oh.
Having said that, we're not talking about Green and Blacks. We're talking about Galaxy here, and I'm going to put it.
Let's get to the issue, lads. We're not talking about Green and Blacks.
I'm going to put a God tier because there's no criticism of it. You can compare it to other things, but it still sits at God tier.
Yeah, 100%. There
was one thing we really didn't like. Was it Dip Dabs? Was it Dip Dabs?
Kill me. No.
Shadow.
Yeah.
Shadow.
The bottom depths of the Shadow Realm.
Actually, we had
a bag of weird powder. Like, what is it? I'm like, how are those things still sold?
How do they sell them?
Yeah.
I think we actually had, I think it was that bad. We had one underneath the Shadow Realm and we just called it Death. And it was just
for the Dip Dabs.
The Dip Dab goes in death.
Into the,
Oh, dear.
Down there.
Well, before we finish up the game, I want to know one or two other things that would go in your Shadow Realm or your Death Realm. I'm curious. I got to think of one for myself. I just wouldn't touch.
Oh, I must say, I was going to say I must say I don't like, but I have no idea what I'm going to say. I must say I don't like, it's a very childish thing to say, oh, I don't like this. I really don't like Brussels sprouts. Like, I just don't see it.
Wouldn't be for you.
Yeah.
How about you, Aaron? Do you like a sprout yourself?
That's the same for me, to be honest. If I'm having Christmas dinner, you've got the turkey, you've got the gammon, you've got the chicken, you've got the roasties. No, I'm telling you, it's almost an art form, laying out the Christmas dinner plate.
Yeah,
it is. You've got the roasties, you've got the potatoes, you've got the gravy over the roasties, and you know what? If I'm in the Christmas spirit, I'll take some carrots and I'll take some broccoli, but I will not. And I mean, I will not take.
You will not do it.
Stephen Nolan in the corner. I will not.
It's fair. It's fair.
Oh, dear.
Because like at Christmas dinner, you have to be tactical. Like you want, because you're gonna get so full. You really do need to leave room for the stuff you want. And there's no point filling up and stuff that you're not absolutely committed to. Like I'd almost go to the extremity. Like I like vegetables and stuff, but Christmas dinner, I will put veg very low down on the list of importance. Like I'll pile up on other stuff way earlier.
I think the worst thing you can do with Christmas dinner, well, any dinner, but especially Christmas dinner, is like drinking so much slur before it. You're just down in the slur. You know,
this year, mate, I was the first year. I just decided I won't drink slur this Christmas dinner. I just won't do it. I'll wait till afterwards, till I'm sitting by the fire or something, have a little glass then. I do like a glass of like mulled wine or punch on a Christmas day. That's for me.
If I could high five you through the screen, I'd 100%.
Oh, you can, yeah. I think we're able to do that now with the new like unlimited Zoom time. That's one of the new features.
Yeah, just.
I felt that.
This is gonna sound really weird, but we were talking about Stephen. I mentioned Stephen Nolan there about 5 minutes ago, but now I'm sure Joel's gonna think this is the weirdest thing ever, and this is just a random fact. I don't know if I've told Aaron this. My mum used to live beside Stephen Nolan, as in like when they were kids, like as in they used to be really good friends.
Yeah.
And in his roof space, and boards were a bit flimsy, and she fell through Stephen Nolan's roof.
No way! Holy moly!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and now you've got the Nolan show. I mean,
that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I really would like to go in the Nolan show. Actually, we'll organise that when the television thing comes out, because I've seen him react to magic before, and it's pretty fun. Like he reacts pretty well to it.
Yeah. No, I
can't. But it fell through the
just.
That's crazy.
I thought that was going to be a really lackluster story, but fair play.
Yeah.
Also, can I ask? Does anyone else but Northern Irish people call it a roof space, or do they just call it the attic?
I'm pretty sure they call it the attic.
What? It's a roof space, mate. It's in the roof.
Roof space.
In the roof.
Space in your roof.
Yeah. My girlfriend and I always fall out over this maybe it is a weird thing, but for some reason I think it might be because my family originally are from Larne, like my mum's side. And they used to always call it, instead of saying go up to the roof space, they would say go up through, which makes no sense. They would say up through, and
just up through?
Just up here. Yeah, it's up through. And apparently that's not something that's said often, but yeah, that's what we would call it.
I'd be like, oh, there's something, I need to get something out of this space. I wouldn't say I need to go up through to get something.
Yeah.
We would just say, there's something up through there.
Drug deal, you know?
In turn,
I'm going to go up through.
That's it. Up through has been put on the death zone. It's not allowed to be talked about.
Yeah, just instant death.
Well, I feel kind of crap now, because for years I've thought there was Lucy's family that were weird for not saying that, and now it's established that I think that's completely our fault.
The other thing I put in the shadow realm, I don't know how you guys feel about this. Maybe you guys love it, maybe you guys hate it. I think it's one of those things you love or hate. Porridge. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I like porridge. I like a good porridge.
Bad taste.
What was it?
Porridge.
I'm either hearing you wrong or I don't know what you're talking about. What is it?
Porridge. Hold on, I'm gonna get. Hold on. It's it might just be the way I'm saying it. Porridge, as in like the breakfast.
Oh, porridge. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought you were saying porridge, but it's probably just my signal. Porridge. But also, that's how we do say porridge. I've had to learn that, lads, honestly. See, since doing online video and doing TV or whatever it is, I've had to be so deliberate now with not saying Northern Irish words to Northern Irish. When I'm talking with other guys, like I'll just go back to normal. But for the most part, like I was doing a conference there where there were a lot of Americans, and I did one conference where it was all American, and you'd be surprised how many times they just don't know what you're saying, because we do say words wrong, like the word par. That isn't how you say the word. So it sounds weird when you try and say it normal, though. You have to be like power. It's strange.
There's another one we say. Do you know when we say scared, you say scared? Oh, I was scared.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was thinking. Like, for them, apparently, Americans really like our accents. I don't know if you found that.
Yeah,
to be
it's true. Yeah,
but at the same time, they just can't understand us.
Can't get it. Yeah.
Have you watched Peaky Blinders?
I watched the first season. It's so good.
Yeah. Well, do you know Inspector Campbell? He was the Northern Irish sort of. Apparently, the American audience couldn't understand him in a screen test.
Couldn't understand a word.
He'd have done it.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I remember meeting some guy from Peaky Blinders, and I cannot remember his name because I met him at, like, the Cool FM Christmas party this year, and he was on a podcast, so was I. But yeah, he's got such. They really do go hard on the Northern Irish accents. I'm not sure when they have to. Yeah, you have to be careful. Like, I do a live stream every day, usually, or every other day on TikTok, and it's mostly like it's about 30% Americans on there now, and they all go mad for the accent. Like, oh, the accent's amazing. But I'm convinced they don't know half of what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, there's no way.
Yeah. I mean, you've almost got like two different sort of dialects where just who you're going with, you know.
Well, I mean, as I was saying, my family, my mum's side are from Larne, and there's times I can't understand them. Like, they have like a proper country. Like, whenever my two uncles start talking, I was like, nah, I'm not even going to pretend I knew what you just said there.
Yeah. Like my uncle, my uncle would come in, he'd say, right, and I'd understand every 3 words. And he would go to my dad and he'd be like, and my dad would be like, oh, I saw her last week, she's doing well. And I'd be like,
what? Yeah.
You know?
It's like a code, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a code.
It is. And that's us, you know?
I'm really struggling to think of something that would be on my desk tier.
Oh, you're deaf. Deaf maybe is a bit far, but Shadow Realm.
There's one for me that would be on my Shadow Realm because I just won't eat it. But like, I know that it's something that everybody else would probably put in their god tier.
It's your
tier. Just a weird one. So it's very specific, right? And it's fried egg whites. Can't do it. Which I know people love. Here's the thing. I'll eat an egg yolk, or I'll eat a hard-boiled egg, like as in like the yolk, or I'll eat scrambled eggs, but just egg white. Can't do it. And it's really annoying because it is so good for you.
Like a fried egg as well, I wouldn't be too fussed on. I don't know whether it's just because the way it's done in the pan, or I just wouldn't. I'm a scrambled egg.
If you're having a fry, though, I think it's like if you're having a fry, you're gonna have an egg. But you would, as you said, you wouldn't want to just eat the whites.
Yeah,
you know,
well, if I was having a fry, I would get the egg, but I just eat the yolk and wouldn't eat the white at all. I just leave it.
Or scrambled.
Yeah, this is it. Myself and my mate Chris, we used to, whenever I was just started school and I didn't really know what I was doing with my career and my life and had a lot more free time, we used to go to Cafe Brasilia in Bangor. Don't know if you've been, but and we used to go for a fry like twice a week. We had it down. We knew what we were getting, had it laid out perfectly. The ratio was just perfect. You know, unlimited tea refills. That was some of the best days of my life there.
I think what I really strive to get in life is when I can walk into a restaurant and they'll be like, "You're right, Arron," my first name, and I go, "Yeah, give me the usual," and I sit down. That's par. That's par right there.
No, I do gotta tell you, there's only one time like having online followers has its benefits, as in it can be your job, but sometimes you get freebies like now and again if you get recognized or whatever. And I can't say where in case any of the staff get in trouble, but there's my favorite place to eat now give me free food whenever I go in, and man, it is if I got nothing for the rest of my career, like if I didn't see another penny,
you would be
sad. That for me, that would be me. I'd be sorted. I'm absolutely sorted. I'll tell you what it is when the thing's over.
Okay, class.
There's nothing I like more than to have that following. I think it's class. I mean, you've done.
It is fun. Yeah.
Free food or what? Or just
both? You know what? Everything I want to know.
Do you know what though? I'll tell you truthfully, like the best time to build a following is during a pandemic because it doesn't go to your head. And I'll tell you because I haven't left the house and seen people since I've gained about like 2.5 million followers say in 3 months, which is like it doesn't even feel real. But because I haven't actually seen anybody and had it like be like, oh, you're so great, it doesn't go to your head. And I think it would do people a world of good if whenever they are building up a following like that, they don't go out and about, because I've seen influencers that's happened to, and it's so much easier to just keep your head down and keep going if you're not seeing the like social respect for it, I guess.
It's gonna hit you when you come out though, when everything.
Well, maybe. I mean, obviously it's lovely. There's nothing nicer than people come out and saying they like your videos or whatever. That is the best thing in the world, because you spend all these years trying to get people to watch, and then when people start watching, that's sick. I'll tell you the weirdest time I was recognized. 2 worst situations. because most of the time it's great. Like people come out and ask for a photo, although that's going to get harder now with social distancing. That's fine. But one time I got spotted. My girlfriend had just been in a lingerie shop in Victoria Square, and I walked around with her, and we walked out together. And there was a group of older ladies that were there wanting photos right outside of the lingerie shop. That was a pretty weird one.
Yeah.
And then the most, not the most awkward, but the most surreal one was I was in McDonald's, and as I often am. And by the way, McDonald's is open again, everybody, for drive-through.
Yeah.
Yeah, as of today. So we got a little drive-through today. Social distance responsibly, folks. Lovely, I was in the bathroom. I walked into the bathroom, and as I walked into the bathroom, there's a little group of like teenage guys like that there. And in my head, I was like, all right, that's like that in itself isn't that weird because they were about the right age and stuff. So I went into the locker and I heard them call it. They're like, Joel, are you the guy from TikTok? I was like, yep, folks, all right. And then you could hear them say, give him some privacy. So they went outside. Then I came out after like I'd finished up, washed my hands, came out, and then they were standing there and they're like, Joel, you're probably not going to believe us here, but that was the weirdest thing that's ever happened because we were literally standing in the bathroom watching some of your videos, and you just walked in through the door as we were watching your TikTok.
It's a real magic trick. It's a real magic trick.
I know, that's what I do. You watch I'll just appear. That's how it goes. That was a weird one.
I know I said earlier we're like the trio of A-listers. Now I know I'll admit I'm not the most famous person in the world by a long shot.
Really?
Yeah. No, just a little bit. Like I'm close, but I'm not.
I mean, you're up there, like.
Yeah, 100%. But like, I've got like 400 something subs on YouTube, and like no one watches me. And this guy, and I was at a caravan park, and you'll never believe this. My dad is friends with a teacher that I know, and I was in this caravan park. He was with me, and I was playing like football with his teacher, and these three guys came out of nowhere and were like, "Are you Daniel Houston?" And I was,
oh my goodness,
like, I turned around to look at the guy. He was gone. Like he sprinted, and I was surreal. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like,
yeah.
The fact that anyone even watches these videos is class. Never mind.
Man, it's the best feeling in the world. If you ever, because man, I've been there with. I remember my first YouTube channel. I started out doing magic. I think the most subscribers I ever got on it was like 250, and I was doing that for years. But the way I look at it is obviously you always want more, and it's very easy to get caught up in the numbers, and I certainly do as well, especially as the numbers get bigger. Mm-hmm. Like I used to absolutely wet myself when I went up 100 followers on Instagram, but now you could get like 100 followers in 10 seconds on TikTok. Like it's crazy. But at the same time, you got to remember they're all people, so it's still could you imagine sitting in a room and there were 400 people sitting watching you do something?
Yeah.
Like when you put it like that, it's a lot weirder, and it's quite cool.
Yeah.
And by the way, as well, like I know people actually in the same world as I, in the magic world, who have 400 followers who make 10 times the amount of money I do doing what they're doing through social, just because they're clever about them, and their fans are like actual real die-hard fans,
Yeah.
No, so it's about going deep rather than going really wide sometimes.
I'll tell you.
The only sort of experience I have of getting like not recognized is but like Comic-Cons and stuff. If you go in cosplay and people get pictures with you, and it's like that's nice enough, but it's not like you're being recognized. You know what I mean? It's
I've
like
never been to Comic-Con or anything. I absolutely love to do one of those. It was so much fun. I would love to do that.
I'll tell you a story.
You could go as Gambit from X-Men. If you know what
I thought about that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Killing people with your cars.
I'll tell you a story just before we go here. Do you ever hear of the comedian Shane Todd from here?
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, well, about in sort of September time, I sent them this podcast, and I sort of was like, big fan of your stuff. I'd love to do that sort of thing when I'm older, and I said I'd love to do that when I'm older. Here's my stuff. If you want to check it out. He checked it out, and then he does a podcast as well, and that's part of the reason, seeing all them doing it is part of the reason why I've
100%.
And he was asking for questions, and I thought, oh, this will be some belter if I turn around and say, have you listened to, the DOLECAST or So this went on, and he listened to it, and he put the actual podcast on his and everything, and you can hear us in the background. It's brilliant. And then,
no way.
Yeah, so, and then this went on genuinely for must have been a month or two. Like, it's just me asking, and it became sort of a bit of a gimmick to his podcast. And then he was doing a gig at, I don't know if the Theatre at the Mill in Mossley.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, and I thought this mug I have right here of the podcast. Yeah, brilliant. So I thought, here's what we'll do. We'll put on the side, my name's Shane Todd, and I listen to the DOLECAST. Put it in a box,
goodness.
and then after the gig, it was waiting for him at the Mill, and I couldn't get to the gig, but he then put it up on the Instagram story that night, and he did a wee
unreal.
And I actually asked him to come to the podcast ages ago, and he completely ignored me. But I mean, let's hope one day. But
look, I'm sure he's a super busy guy. I know, fair play to Shane as well, because I remember whenever I was in secondary school, myself and my friend Andrew used to wet ourselves watching his skits. For the longest time, I didn't know that his name was Shane Todd. I thought that his Mike McGolder character was real when I was a kid. Like, I didn't realize that he was a comedian, and I thought it was just him kind of taking the mick out of himself.
Yeah.
But fair play, because he's taken that and built himself a big stand-up thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I've now got an image on my phone from that time of him holding up the mug. So that is brilliant. What time?
That's the best, man.
I think we're actually about an hour and a half in, if you can actually believe that.
Quality content, boys, from Custard Creams to Shane Todd to Magic. It's been fun.
It's been the longest podcast. This will hopefully go out tomorrow, which is the anniversary, the 1 year anniversary of the podcast. So.
Oh, congrats, by the way. That's
thanks very much. Yeah.
Not a big achievement. We've done 13 episodes over a year, so we'll just
look. That's just over one a month. So that's good.
I'll talk to you after we finish off here, but I just want to say thanks very much, obviously, for coming on.
Yeah. It's been I've had a really good time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you,
Aaron.
Had a brilliant time, and hopefully when this lockdown's over, we'll get out, make a few videos together and stuff like that.
100%.
Yeah.
We're gonna hang out. It's gonna be fun.
Brilliant. But yes, thank you so much for watching the 13th episode of the year of the DOLECAST. Thank you so much to Joel for coming on.
All links to socials in the description. Not that that's gonna
thanks, guys.
Up at all.
No, I really appreciate
it.
Thank you.
Here's hoping that we're still around in a year's time.
Absolutely, yes. We'll do another one in a year. We should
every
come
year
back
anniversary. We just have Joel and see what's happening.
Thanks very much for listening.
People are sick of me.
Thanks very much for listening. We'll see you later. Goodbye.
Bye bye.